First glance I could see that it was not in a really good shape. The kick lever wasn't working properly. It didn't seem to engage in any sprocket inside of the engine, so that one had to be taken apart. But first a quick look at it to see what I actually bought. There was a lot of rust everywhere on it, and my guess is that it would have been just sitting outside for many years, perhaps decades. The guy who sold it to me said that he bought it sort of in this shape and hadn't gotten around to do anything with it. It came with a new muffler and exhaust pipe, but that was pretty much all of it. It's a Swedish-made moped from 1963. Although popular at the time, the next generation growing up in the 70s didn't care too much for them and instead wanted mopeds that looked more like motorcycles. It's time to get going, and we start by removing the engine from the moped to see what has to be done with it. We're in Sweden and it's beginning of Mars, so it's quite cold here, and that's why you see me in this thick winter jacket. I also have my son helping with the camera here. One of the reasons that I bought this one is that it had all the plates. A lot of times those got lost during the 70s when kids played around with this and never bothered to mount them back after doing some work on them. So a lot of times old chain guards and cover plates got lost over time, but this one had them all. So I thought it would be fun to try to restore it. The inside of the cylinder here is sort of a happy surprise because it could have been a lot worse. This engine only had belt drive for the first year. They switched to gears the year after. The belt drive, however, makes it run really smooth and quiet, so I prefer this, even if the belt drive got sort of a bad reputation because some belts broke and wore out prematurely. I'm using heat to make the engine block expand, which will help release the bearings, and I don't need to put a lot of violence or force to tap out the crankshaft. It soon becomes obvious why the kick lever didn't work properly. Something has happened to the oil inside the engine. There seemed to be some sort of rubber-like dried oil inside of it. I don't know how to describe it. I've seen it in the fryer in the kitchen, but nowhere else. I don't know what caused this to oil, but perhaps they had plant-based oil in the engine at some point. Not having to use a lot of force when parting this engine and tapping on the crankshaft ensures that I don't introduce any unbalance or anything before I know what condition it's actually in. Then I just go ahead removing the bearings using the tools I have and sort of improvise here. The bearings on the crankshaft seem to be in a really good condition. I think they've been replaced not too long ago, or perhaps long ago, but it hasn't. The engine hasn't been running a lot since then. So I'm not going to replace all the bearings, just the one that really needs to be replaced. Then it's all about cleaning, and it really took some work to get rid of all that dried rubber-like oil. You can see it in the tray as small parts that doesn't dissolve. I can see that there's a little crack here in the engine block, but that's just on the bottom outside where the drive sprocket is. So I'm gonna look at this as a part of the engine's and the moped's history and just let it be. It's the same thing when I'm remounting the bearings. Use quite a lot of heat to get the temperature high enough, and if you get there, the bearings can just slide in, pressed in by hand, like you saw there. If you accidentally twist it a little bit, you may have to tap it down, but it doesn't take much force to get it down once the engine block is hot. So it's a key thing here. I've decided to give the engine block a bit of a touch up. Spraying some aluminum primer here. I'm later on gonna put a little darker aluminum color on it and finish with some 2K clear coat. And yes, I am being careful not to spray directly on the bearings. The bushing on the connecting rod was really worn, so I needed to replace that one. But first I had to make a small, very simple tool to be able to push out the old bushing. And once again, I'm just using what I got laying around here. That's much better. I'm measuring the run out here, and I'm really happy that I didn't use a lot of force removing this crankshaft. It's, I guess it's so close you can get. It's like 0.02 of a millimeter. And the kick mechanism seemed to be working good again. And just like that, we got a gearbox again. Instead of using any force trying to push the block halves together, I'm using a very simple tool consisting of a piece of pipe and a threaded rod. And I'm using this to push the bearing onto the crank shaft, a little step at a time, a few turns, and then some tapping on the block half, little by little, and soon enough we have the two engine halves nicely put together. Once all the screws are in place, we should be able to turn the crankshaft very easily by hand between 2 fingers. And then it's time for the oil seals. I had almost forgotten about the clutch, but we need to clean that one as well. And it's also filled with that gunky, sticky oil. Need to pry this one open. It doesn't come apart easily. It's almost like it's glued together. I've actually never assembled one of these belt transmissions before, but it comes together really easy. A lot of people use a strobe to set the ignition, but I don't have one, and I find it easy enough to just measure it. I remember this part being a bit fiddly, but eventually I got it in the right place. I would later find out that the gasket didn't fit too well, so I had to custom make one myself in order to seal it properly. So with the engine reassembled, it's time to take a new look at the rest of the moped. Right away we can notice two things. It's the side stand that doesn't work. The swing also seemed to be a bit loose. Well, that's not how it's supposed to look. It's just a threaded rod, and I really wonder how it ended up there. And with great help from my son, we are starting to take this one apart. The wheels are perhaps the one thing that has the most rust on them. I don't know how long it has been standing in water, but the rust is literally just raining down when I scratch this this rim inside of the rim. All of the spokes were stuck, so I had to cut them all. From the beginning I had this idea that I was going to be able to well, save them or reuse them, but nah, I had to cut them. Before applying any primer, I start by using some rust stopper. I do this because the surface can be a bit grainy, and you don't always get down in those small cavities with a steel brush. So by doing this we make sure that there isn't any rust left. After that we start by applying a primer. It can be a grey or it can be a red one. And then we apply some filler if we need that, then some sanding, and then we have the color coat, and we end up with a 2K clear coat on top of all this that's resistant to gasoline and oils and stuff like that. Most of the parts will be either red or white, but on the swing I use some silver wheel paint. There's always a lot of rust to be removed, and I do this mainly with a angle grinder, but sometimes the lathe come in good use. I do think that the spokes are a bit too shiny for my taste, at least on a bike of this age. I trust that I can get them dirty enough to to suit the bike. Taking this apart gives me some time to reflect on where I want to go with this. I guess I could restore it to make it look brand new, but this moped is 60 years old and I don't think it should look brand new. To me it's about finding a balance between patina and good looks. To me, patina is something that tells a story. It's about how something has been used, but rust, in my eyes, are not patina. It's the opposite. It's the sign of things not being used, things being tucked away for 20 years behind a shed somewhere. I guess it's about finding some sort of balance here. I don't know where this will end up. Most of it comes apart real easy, but there are some things that need some special treatment, believe me. Well, that's a lot of rust. I won't be able to remove this only with an angle grinder. Problem is I don't have a proper sandblasting cabinet here, so I will have to be on the outside of my garage blowing sand all over the place. And this one took a lot more heat than I show in the video before it came loose. side stand also took a bit of work to get loose. You can see that I had to cut a groove along the pipe that holds the side stand, and you can see the amount of rust that just pouring out of the pipe as I smash it. Luckily, the upper and lower fork leg were easy enough to separate. Once loose, I could see how bent they really were. Luckily, as it would turn out, an old colleague of mine had a press that I could use to straighten these out. I kept on checking against a flat surface and then went back and pressed it until I got it straight enough. Now this part is just loud and it's dirty and the dust is flying everywhere. Eventually the paint is gone and we can start working on the surface with the rust protection, plaster, color coat and the final clear coat that's applied to all the parts. Although this part wasn't in the best condition, I decided to keep the original paint on it and just fix the spots that needed to be addressed. I think it's nice to keep some of the old paint on the moped. At first I also had the idea that I would keep the original paint on the gas tank, but it had a hole in it and needed to be repainted. I'm cutting the masking tape here on the lathe so I get the dimensions that I want. Well, since I don't have the skill to pinstripe it, I have to mask every line, and it took quite a while to get this good enough. And there's more plates. Plaster, sanding, more plaster, sanding again, rust protection, paint, and finally some clear coat. Since I can't reach all the areas with the angle grinder, I have to remove some of the rust using this blaster, but it's a very dirty job and the sand is flying everywhere. The side stand needed to be repaired, but apart from the rust, the big problem here is the broken pin. I guess it sort of vanished and got replaced by rust, but I think if we can fit a new one, we can get this working again. Using a drill bit there to check the diameter. Luckily I had some material laying around that I could use to make a new pin. All the parts here get some sandblasting before I paint them and make them ready for assembly again. Beginning to paint the frame feels like a big step forward. Working with very thin multiple layers here, and eventually we got everything covered. And of course this one also gets a 2K clear coating. But there are more parts that we need to work on before we can actually start to assemble the moped again. But finally, we are there. And what's next to come is the most rewarding part of the restoration project. Putting it all back together. There are a few parts I want to start with before anything else. I start by attaching the steering first. This allows me to put the frame upside down, and then it will be easy to get the fork legs in the right position. More than once I had to remove something that I just mounted because I got things in the wrong order or had turned it backward or something like that. The original shock absorbers weren't in a really good condition, so I replaced them. The dimensions weren't exactly the same, although close, but I did a test fitting first. And they seem to fit very well here and also looks great. Originally, these mopeds never had any clear coating on them. And I think that the clear coating I use for protective reasons is just too shiny to fit well on a bike of this age. So I'm sort of matting it down a bit and then giving it a more traditional polish to make it look more suitable for its age. Although the package holder had a lot of rust, I decided to just brush it off and leave it this way. It's not rusty anymore and just looks very old and used, and that's pretty much what I like, so I'm just gonna leave it this way. And the same goes for the saddle. There's a lot of cracks in the fabric, but you can't buy a new one that looks exactly like this. And also I think that kind of signs of use is the kind of patina that I actually think contributes to the overall experience and overall look. This is another detail that I didn't do anything with. It's the original paint, and I'm just gonna leave it as it is. I'm really happy with how the engine turned out, and as you can see, I chose a slightly darker, more warmer color for the engine block compared to the swing arm. Beside all the cover plates, we still have the original chain guards here that can be refitted, and I think we're gonna do that. They just need a little touch up. They're made of a rubber-like material that has become quite stiff during all these years. Now there's not much left to do before we can actually try to start this. Come on. Yeah, that's what we want to hear after all this work. But there are a few things we should do before we take this out for a test drive. The cover plates, of course. And some handles can improve the experience. Those are the original ones that has been washed and bleached. And there we go. The moped has been restored to its former glory, and its 1 year younger chubby cousin has got a new friend. Although branded differently, these two bikes are made in the same factory and share a lot of details. The front forks, for example, are almost identical. So thanks for watching this video, and like and subscribe if you want to see more of these.